Hey guys, today's story is about yet another crappy DM. Before I go into the bulk of this cascading train wreck, I will clarify that the only reason I stayed as long as I did was because of two reasons. First, most of the red flags initially I didn't know what to look for, and all the worst aspects manifested nearly all over the course of 3 sessions. Secondly, I was not out at the time, and was afraid of having to explain myself to the group. As I knew some of them through a religious group, I was afraid of having to explain myself and having it follow me home. The important characters are as follows. There was myself, as a player. As it is relevant to the story, I am a gay man. But I don't outwardly act gay, so people all assume I'm straight. Additionally, when I was younger, I was physically abused quite heavily by my mom's last husband, as well as being abused by my first girlfriend. I was 13 years old at the time, and she was 16. This becomes relevant when the DM begins acting homophobic and treats domestic and sexual abuse as a laughing point. The party. There was no one outwardly bad, but they all seemed totally fine with everything going on, even quoting,
"It's just how he does things."
And then there was the DM, who I shall refer to as the DM. Someone I had not known prior to my first session, but someone I had grown to privately loathe as time went on. Every rule for DMs he broke for his own sake, for his own fun, at everyone else's expense. But without further ado, let's get on to the story. I was invited into this group by one of the players. I had seen some of my other friends play D&D in high school, and I myself wanted to give it a shot. I joined as a tiefling paladin, who, to avoid romance shenanigans, was demisexual. From the start, things seemed to be okay, but in hindsight, there were red flags from the get-go. To start, from the first session, the other paladin was immediately given a +3 returning, throwable maul. And the rogue got a dagger on a hit with any other weapons would deal poison damage, and always had advantage. Minding that this was at level 1. They were, of course, both friends of the DM. That, and every NPC that was named was deliberately left unstated. And the DM would go out of character constantly to laugh at us and tell us how pathetic we were compared to his NPCs. At one point, joking and beaming with pride. He said his NPCs gave more control over us than a warlock's patron. On top of that, I was the only player with a female character. While they never directly said it, she was frequently insulted and or ignored, with her actions often being called pointless. At the time, I didn't know any better, so I went along. At the very least, the combat was good, and I liked the other PCs. And we went on for a while. It was a standard ripoff of Tyranny of Dragons, with the DM's favorite NPC regularly breaking rules, and would enslave us to do menial tasks, and any resistance to do so would mean death. Then things took a turn for the worse when I mentioned my female character had a girlfriend in the past. Immediately, NPCs began to immediately throw sexist and derogatory slurs at her, and she was waved off by every NPC, to the point where important NPCs would only speak to the male PCs. Further, the DM made it so that my deity would never do anything on my behalf, in one instance taking away my spells, including my racial ones, because
My lifestyle displeased my god.
Then came the kicker. When the campaign ended, the OP Mary Sue NPC decided that while everyone else got happy endings, my PC deserves to die for not wanting to send people to hell to save her immediately. I tried to say that I go into hiding, but the DM laughed and said I was too weak to do that, and even said my god rebuked me and dunked me clean into hell. And then, at the end of the session, to top off this cake of excrement. There was a scene where a priest was alone with a player. Cue another making a joke about Catholic priests and kids. The DM, masterclass individual that he is, decided to go into detail on how this priest would attempt to force himself onto that character. He gave a fully detailed description of the NPC derobing, and where exactly he tried to grab her, as well as him monologuing in what he was going to be doing to the character. Thankfully, this was a level 17 rogue that he was dealing with, who promptly ended the situation with a well-placed rapier strike. The rest of the group thought that this interaction was hilarious. They were joking about this. Then, out of character, they joke about how anything like this could ever happen to someone else. And then I heard this.
Man, how pathetic would you have to be to let something like that happen to you? You deserve to have your butt beat if you're so pathetic you let something like that happen to you.
After he had said such, I stopped paying attention, and my eyes were more or less glazed over as I sat there in shock. As the session ended, as the others were talking about the next campaign, I just left. I didn't respond to anything that they had sent me, and when my parents asked me what had happened, I just said it wasn't my thing. Thankfully, this story does actually have a happy ending. I really liked D&D, even with the crappy experience I had. So I went to the game store I bought my books from, and asked if they had an Adventurers League there. They did, thankfully, and the employee even said that the reason they run it is so that people running from terrible groups have a place to go. This story happened quite a while ago. I am now one of their professional DMs, as well as a regular player on their busiest nights. I have also found 2 other groups through the friends I met there, who I count as amazing friends and DMs without compare. I've started playing Starfinder and love it, and I still play D&D on a regular basis with a much more accepting group. Well guys, I have to say, kudos to the OP for not getting up and slugging the guy. That DM was, quite frankly, a piece of crap. But all's well that ends well. He found better people, he's enjoying the game, so there's actually a happy ending to this one. Too bad most of these stories don't have a happy ending. But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.